those that are in the Anglican Church and those that are in the Zionist Church, the key theme there is Jesus Christ. And therefore here the key theme will be Marxist-Leninist. And therefore we must find the membership and the leadership of the organization NEHAWU in the party structures. We were saying it's going to be very, very important that we deepen, as suggested by our theme, deepen class consciousness. We must be able to explain the struggles and the contradictions that in the society from the perspective of a Marxist-Leninist understanding. We cannot think that you must explain why the May Days were neglected in the Free State. At the heart of the May Day rallies struggles there. It's not because people did not like Comrade Zuma. It's because we are fighting on the ownership of the economy of this country and the plundering of the resources of the state. Not because we don't like it. And the people must explain the thing. That what is happening here is ideological. And therefore, as we deepen our class consciousness and we understand what is Marxism as a concept, and we understand the tools of analysis, we must also make our people understand what is the economic base and what is a superstructure. Because those two will interrelate and use exchanges. Structure that explains the struggles and the battles in the society. And therefore, as those contradictions in our society are sharpening, they're going to expose the real enemies of our NTR inside and outside the movement. And therefore, with those few additions to the commission, we want to move to second.
Okay, Stemke. Another thing.
Thank you very much, Comrade President, as we on this topic. I want to raise some few issues in terms of what was raised, and also want to persuade the Congress to say. We know the call for economic summit, alliance summit, but we know, President, that whatever time the election is coming, ANC is holding convening alliance summit. Just the other day, we were stopped for not being attended what we call for the Alliance Political Council. And that council was to proceed what we call political. We should be stand on this that political alliance political council should be a call it alliance 10 aside, set quarterly. Been done, nothing implemented. So our call is that we ask that alliance political council to sit on the multi basis that we can have what we call the reconfigured alliance. President, we want to ask Congress also that we at the ANC group and the broader alliance look at the issue of coalition government. Because we're sitting now with 3 coalition governments in your metros. And as we proceed going forward, 2019, the ANC will decline. And how do we ensure that, apart from the party, we also pursue the party to contest, how do we say that we build or we lean on your left parties, that we can build alliance of coalitions within your local municipalities, within your metros, and even within your provinces. So we have to look at coalition governments because it's becoming a trend, not only in Europe but also in Africa, and we now see that recently with the Lesotho. Next one, President, the issue of swelling of the ranks. Now, whoever we're calling for swelling of the ranks, one quantity but not in terms of quality. But the tool, we should develop a tool that governments can come on account. Because whatever government is sitting now, I'm sent there by ANC. Why now? Because the other day the GS report said, we made the decision, we are mad union of sending people to Parliament. But is there a tool that governments can come and account what has been done in terms of our own solutions? Because we said now, we send them. But when the governments are there, we say now, I'm here for the ANC, whether it's in Parliament, whether it's in the boards, whether it's provincial government, or whether it's in municipalities. Last one, President. That one of the Facebook, I'm not sure we have resolved on that thing, but we can agree on it, but it was proceeded like training because some of the leaders, they have struggled to use the Facebook and it's with them. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Northern Cape guests.
Thank you, Chairperson. All the three resolutions, the political, the economic, socio-economic, and also the international, all of them have touched on the economy, the transportation of the economy. They all touched the issues which are caused by the problems caused by the IMF and other structures on capitalism. But what is missing in all this is a structure in which to put these resolutions into practice. And one would want to suggest that structure, and that structure should be, at a national level, it should have a national cooperative, not cooperatives, but national cooperative. And at international level, you must have an international cooperative. Now, that international cooperative must be led by a cooperative bank, so that we take all of. Now, if they take out the monies, all the monies, not only your cash, but everything, including your private funds and your taxes, if you take all those monies and put them into a cooperative, a national cooperative, that national cooperative will then be able to invest in the areas where you are able to have ownership. The same thing must happen, and NEHAWU must take that to COSATU, so that COSATU, through its affiliates, must also be part of that national cooperative. The same national cooperative will then go to different countries and through World Federation of Trade Unions to make sure that you've got an international cooperative which deals directly with the economy. In that way, then we want to continue to fund the capitalist system. Once we are saying we are fighting it. So if we fight it, we must fight it by moving our resources there, making sure that they are not using our own resources to cause us a problem. So, but the problem is that we must also then deal with our current situation. We have got membership which is divided, which does not know where they belong. Yes, they pronounce that they are Marxism and Leninism, but they also pronounce that they are socialism. But the fact remains that there is what is called middle class, and that middle class then, which does not in essence exist because you've got only two classes, it confuses them. So we need then to deal with those political issues to make sure that people understand that they are either a working class or they are the bourgeoisie. So they must just take a decision and be able to address those issues. Until we do that, because if we don't put our own money in those areas which we want to make sure that we change, then it means we don't make the sacrifice. And if you can't make that sacrifice, which we made politically to gain the country, we won't be able to gain this economic transformation.
Thank you. Followed by KZN and the President.
Yeah, thanks, Comrade President. We also rising to speak on a few issues and also to appreciate the presentation by the Commission. The first area we want to focus on, Comrade President, is the one that deals with the 2019 general elections. We are happy as Gauteng that Limpopo has spoken on the outcome of the Mogale City municipality which dealt with the election of the mayor last night, ne? And the fact that the outcome there was in our favor as the liberation movement. Maybe this resolution also under noting should have noted the outcome of the 2016 local government elections as a serious setback against us as the liberation movement. And having noted it as a setback, we should have pronounced on a program that should ensue to prepare us for the 2019 general elections. The ANC Deputy President, when he addressed us on Monday, he did indicate that the campaign has already started. Maybe we must talk about the extent to which as NEHAWU we can assist that campaign to gain momentum so that come 2019 we are ready for those general elections. However, Comrade President, we also need to express our disappointment as Gauteng. When comrades were in some celebratory mood on Tuesday evening when we were voting outside, there seems to be comrades who have composed a song which is very problematic, but not only problematic, equally counter-revolutionary, which says Gauteng has sold out Tshwane and Johannesburg. Kidi Mau Mau. What? I think comrades must be taught to refrain from such things because if anything, because instead of them motivating us to work harder to win the 2019 elections, we are being demoralized as a province. So comrades must compose songs.
Revolutionary songs.
Yes. Yes. The other issue, Comrade President, on COSATU locals, we want to also appreciate the resolution on COSATU locals and clusters, but want to appeal to this Congress that where we can, as NEHAWU, we must volunteer to host COSATU local meetings and cluster meetings, because all the regions. So COSATU can strike news which can provide as a union. Comrade President, we must say that the SACP, amongst its 14th National Congress discussion documents, there's a discussion document titled Now More Than Ever, the SACP has a leadership duty in the NTR. We've reached a stage where as NEHAWU we have to say that now more than ever, NEHAWU has a leadership duty in COSATU, and we must live up to that as a union by doing all the things we've just alluded to. The other issue, comrades, it's also important. The resolution on the SACP does encourage our members to participate in the structures of the ANC, of the SACP, obviously for personal development, which personal development will translate to organizational development as comrades come to our structures to share experiences from what they learn in the SACP and elsewhere. It's important that we do that. I heard the Northern Cape chair saying that some of us would need training on how to use Facebook, Twitter, and others. We are further proposing that NEHAWU shop stewards and members must be encouraged to enroll with the Communist University, because that Communist University will help us deepen class consciousness as a union by getting our members to participate in that university. So it's important that our members be encouraged to enroll in the university. Maybe on the issue of campaigning against state capture, we support Limpopo, we are covered on that. and also reaffirming the NEHAWU, NEC and CEC decision on the issue relating to the president of the ANC, that he must step down. We reaffirm that decision as Gauteng, Comrade President. Lastly, Comrade President, on the issue raised by Limpopo on the succession debate, yeah, it's an important issue, Comrade President. I know that somewhere in one of the African communists, some 1990 edition of the AC, there was some debate on the issue of language and cultural diversity in our country. That it's important that the linguistic and cultural diversity in the country should find expression in our organizations. And I know that as the liberation movement, we've now embraced something we call social cohesion. And that social cohesion seeks to appreciate the fact that in South Africa, there are 11 official languages. So there is cultural, linguistic diversity which must find expression not only in our organizations, but in the presidency now. If, Comrade President, we can look at the fact that the first president of democratic South Africa was a Nguni. The second president was a Nguni. And the third one, which is the current one, is a Nguni. So going forward, it's important that we reflect on the issue of linguistic and cultural diversity in our country, so that we don't only have presidents being Ngunis in South Africa, as if other clans don't have capacity to lead this country. Thanks, Comrade President.
KZN.
Thanks, Comrade President.
KZN.
No, thanks, Comrade President. In the main, Comrade President, as KZN, we support the resolution. And we
Order,
also,
comrades, can you listen?
and we also, Comrade President, support addition made by Limpopo and some by Gauteng. I'm not sure about the latter one. Thanks, President.
Okay. The next speaker was Comrade First Deputy President.
No, President, thanks very much and my apology. There's a resolution we want to persuade the Congress, having moved and seconded, to recraft it on the ICT that speaks to the broadband services to be regarded as essential services. We think we understand the Commission to be saying, or the resolution to be saying, it must be taken seriously or very important in a manner that Limpopo was putting it. But if you want to say, as a trade union, it is, you resolve that it must be an essential service, it means something else in the context of how you organize and the right of those workers who work in that sector. So that's what we wanted to caution, that it must be reformulated to emphasize the importance, nature of it, including the fact that the government must pay attention to it, including the fact that there must be cheaper data and so on and so on. But the moment you say it must be regarded as essential service to the employer and employee relationship, it means something else. And as a trade union, we can't lock ourselves into that thing. So that's what we wanted to raise. But lastly, let's take advantage of the input by Comrade Jerry, that indeed, NEHAWU is almost towards establishing its own cooperative bank, which NESACO is celebrating 10 years this year. And I'm sure comrades have been interacting with the stores that is there in terms of the services. So as part of encouraging what Comrade Jerry was raising, we are leading in COSATU as an organization that very soon we can be able to establish a cooperative bank. And we thought we must announce here that during your 30 years, you're also celebrating 30 years of a workers' bank to be established very soon. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Comrade President. I also have UGS on my list.
No, President, we just want to persuade NEHAWU on their last input to seriously consider withdrawing that last part. Because from where we stand, it's un-Marxist. As we debate and campaign and mobilize, we should not at the same time be tribalist too. Because we think about our leaders, all of us here, we are identified on the basis of our activism in our structures as leaders and so on. So we request that NEHAWU step down on that matter, and that no province should make a follow-up on that matter. Thank you very much, President.
Thank you, GS. NEHAWU, can you withdraw?
Okay. Comrade President, before we do that,
Comrade NEHAWU, can you withdraw after the explanation from the General Secretary?
yeah, I will, Comrade President, but I want to be given an opportunity.
NEHAWU, can you withdraw, Comrade?
Okay, we do.
NEHAWU, we didn't hear you.
NEHAWU does withdraw under duress, Comrade President.
Okay, Comrade, NEHAWU withdraw. Thank you, Comrade. That was the resolution. I think you are covered, Eastern Cape, ne? You are not. Okay, Eastern Cape.
President, no, well, we take the instruction from the GS on that, but there's a matter that we did not hear from that commission, because we're arguing in the commission that because there's a December conference of the ANC and now the NTR is in a stalemate waiting the outcome of that Congress. In other words, there's no revolution. The revolution is in a stalemate waiting for the outcome, and therefore we're saying the party must come. That is covered, that the party must now, we must consider that the party must now lead the NTR. More than that, we're saying we must encourage the party we're coming back to this Congress, to this venue for the 14th Congress of the party, and the party must take a decision on the state power that it must contest election, because we don't have anybody for us to take our resolution forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Eastern Cape. Comrade, that is a resolution, the resolution from political and ideological work. It has been moved and seconded. Can we clap, Comrade, for the resolution that I have? Comrade, I know we are tired, and I want to request, Comrade, the Congress to be patient for okay, Comrade, to be patient to take the last commission, Comrade. Thereafter, we break for lunch. But the President, I will ask the President to come. Okay.
Amanda, Tina, as workers, we know no borders, we know no nations. Nobody can stand in front of us. Even if we're in France, even if we don't hear what they say, the mere fact that they are workers, that becomes our home. So we're happy that the General Secretary intervened. Indeed. Thank you very much, Nobel. Comrades, we want to finalize this matter and deal with the question of award that was left. We will, of course, will have left with one because Comrade Stalin couldn't be with us, and NOBs would discuss, will probably travel to KZN, firstly check on his health and see whether we can proceed on that matter. For now, we want to invite the WFTU Deputy General Secretary to join us on the podium, Comrade Mahadevan. And we want to invite the General Secretary. I'm not sure whether I still have those notes of his. General Secretary, where is okay? Silinde wena apha mhlekazi.
Nelson Mandela, yes. Aona Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Aona ya. Oh, aona ya twanaliwe.
Amandla. No, thank you very much, President. The Congress will remember that yesterday we spoke about the different categories of the awards that we are giving to our leaders that are both in the union or who have served the union, including those who are serving in other fraternal organizations that have contributed in the advancements of worker struggles and the working class as a whole. Now, as part of the NOB Special Awards, the NOBs felt that it is important that we should award the late Comrade Moses Mabeda the Leadership Excellence Award, the Begim Kize Leadership Excellence Award. Therefore, that's the award that the President is going to take us through in terms of handing it over to the family of the late Comrade Moses Mabeda. Thank you very much, President.
Comrade stage.
Moses Mabeda. Moses Mabeda. Oh, Moses Mabeda. Aona ya twanali. Moses Mabeda. Moses Mabeda. Moses Mabeda. Aona ya twanali. Oh, aona ya twanali na. Moses Mabeda. Moses Mabeda. Oh, Moses Mabeda. Aona ya twanang. Oh, aona ya twanang liena. Oh, aona ya twanang liena.
Now we are asking the national treasury. And then we will ask the Deputy General Secretary to travel to Maritzburg, in the township where Mabeda was born, and hand over the award to Mabeda. invite one of the representatives of Mapida family to come on the podium and say a few words.
Manda. Comrades, we are deeply honored to have been considered to come and receive the award on behalf of my grandfather, on behalf of, he is the father of our aunt here, Ututugile. We are deeply honored as a family, and we know that Comrade Moses Mapida was in the forefront of the revolution, both for the working class as well as in Umkhonto weSizwe and the general national liberation revolution which we have accomplished. And we are so grateful to accept this on his behalf. He would have been a very glad man to have come here. And we are so thankful, comrades. Viva the spirit of Moses Mapida, viva. Thank you, comrades.
Thank you.
Okay.
Umabida wengakona mzava, mzava laze. Umabida wengakona, mzava laze. Oh, mzava laze, mzava laze. Emzabalaze,
Emzabalaze,
Omabeta wengakona,
Emzabalaze,
Omabeta wengakona, Emzabalaze, oh Emzabalaze.
Amandla gawethu sorry comrade ukunikhaula comrade as bensenditshilo ngaphambi ukuthi we want to push comrade for the last commission. As a result sithethile nayo ukuthi it must summarize comrade, much as we know comrade ukuthi organizational it's a big thing. Therefore comrade we say they must summarize, because if ixesha comrade, without wasting time we will ask comrade Clement to come to the podium and present comrade there. Thank you comrade. Can we sing a revolutionary song as
Oliver,
okay.
Oliver, wetambo, tina sikoshiwe kaya. Oliver, wetambo, tina sikoshiwe kaya. Sizo zabalaza, sizo zabalaza. Sizo
Amandla. Comrade President, thank you. Comrades, I hate presenting in time. This is the Organizational Priorities Commission. First resolution on building strong workplace organization. We resolved that the union must set up a system to manage, monitor and update branch data on quarterly basis across all provinces and regions. Also resolved that the first NEC of the 11th National Congress should realign the composition of the National Organizing Committee at provincial and national level. We also resolved that the provincial organizers forums must focus discussions on improving organizing and servicing of branches in regions in line with the theme of the 11th National Congress. The union must drive uninterrupted training program in branches, working together with the service centers at provincial and regional level. We also resolved or reaffirmed that we should build regions as engines of service delivery. The union must strengthen a capacity building program for regional office bearers. From the 10th Congress. On TVET, we are saying, comrades, we resolved that provinces and regions assisted by national organizers for the higher education and TVET must revive and strengthen branches in these sectors in line with what we've done in 2016 through the National Higher Education Task Team intervention.
Comrade, I'm sorry, and I have not consulted with NOPs. I'm not sure whether this is going to create a storm. We have a serious time constraint, comrade. In the pace in which we are likely to finish this Congress with a very few people. There are many comrades who must fly, there are many comrades who must drive in a very long distance. Now, we want to propose that we suspend the process of resolutions, including this one, because in any way, the program that is going to come here was going to be concluded by the Central Committee. We therefore want to suggest that we stop the resolutions from the Commission. We go straight to the next item so that we can be able to finish the Congress. I don't want to say in a dignified manner, but to finish the Congress while we still have everybody around us, and refer the other resolution into the Central Committee and ask the Central Committee to finalize them. Because we have looked into the resolution and we have looked what we still have to do. We don't think we are going to make 3 o'clock. So please, comrade, consider this proposal, this humble proposal, so that we can be able to finish this Congress with the still capacity of people that we have around us. So, Chair, Comrade Deputy Chair, can you come and share my suggestion? I hope that the NOPs are not going to kill me for making such, but it's purely my own assessment, and I think that thank you.
Thank you, Comrade. Without wasting time, Comrade, that's the proposal from this side, that is the National Office. provinces, comrade, on this matter. Gauteng, Northern Cape, okay, Free State, and Northwest. Oh, I'm saying Gauteng, Northern Cape, Free State, Eastern Cape. Where is Mpumalanga? Okay, Mpumalanga. In that order, comrade, I didn't see Western Cape and Northwest. Gauteng.
Okay, thanks, Comrade President. Yeah, we want to endorse the proposal, Comrade President. However, can I proceed, Comrade President? Okay. However, there's an area of constitutional amendments. In the special CEC, we received a report which suggested that the amendments can't be effected because the registrar was arguing that it was not proper for the CEC to have processed constitutional amendments. So we were waiting for with that task. Can we be clarified on that? Thanks.
Okay. Northern Cape.
No, thanks, President. We understand what the suggestion, but our understanding is that based on the report that's presented and the work that was done in the Commission, we know the Commission sat very long and crafted out the report that we had. We then propose that we adopt that resolution, and if there's any outstanding matters, we can just clean out the report, and because there's work to be done. Because we don't adopt that resolution, what we're going to do, wait until Central Executive Committee, but then we adopt because we know that the work has been done thoroughly, and then the Commission have concluded, and then the Congress adopt the resolutions on organizational. Thanks.
Otherwise, you are seconding the proposal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Free State.
Thanks, President. As Free State, we would like to support Gauteng on the issue of constitutional amendments. And secondly, we wanted to propose, Chairperson, our view is that organizational is very important.
Sorry, Free State, can you start, Comrade?
Oh, okay. We were saying, President, we partly agree with Gauteng, particularly on the second part of the Constitution, because of that explanation that Gauteng has given. The other one, we were proposing that we hear what the comrades are saying, but we wanted to persuade that where possible, let the rapporteurs speak to the resolutions, manage time, so that we don't leave it unattended for Congress, and all the other issues that might emanate from whatever shall be discussed then will be subjected to the CC. But in essence, not that we doubt the type of work that has been done, but to say let us speak about it. Let all these other things that maybe are key for us to note, let them reflect, just to provide a summary maybe in terms of organizational. But that is where we are, President. Thanks.
Thank you, Free State. I've noted Eastern Cape.
President, to us, there are two critical issues that have been raised here. One, that we have to adopt the resolutions on organization so that they be cleaned in the CEC. We agree with that. We also want to also agree on the matter that we have to, as a matter of now, deal with the aspect of the constitutional amendments in Congress, so that we'll be able to move with that constitution. Thank you, President.
Pumalanga.
President, we as in Mpumalanga, of course, we have supported long time ago and we are combat ready to start dealing with the issue of the constitution as in Mpumalanga. And President, in your absentia for now, maybe I should also take this platform to congratulate ourselves that we are going back home with that sin. Thank you very much.
Amanda. Okay, comrade. This is what we think we must do. We adopt the resolution as if they are read by the into the constitutional matters. We pick them up, we discuss them as a Congress, we endorse them. Then we take everything else that needs to be cleaned into the Central Committee. How's that? Thank you.
Agree.
Limpompo.
President, we want to agree that we deal only with the question of the constitutional amendment, but we think we must not adopt the resolutions, because the implication of adopting the resolutions, it means that we have completed the work of the resolution on organizational work. So my view is that let us defer this work of the resolution on organizational to the Central Executive Committee as earlier proposed by the President, but not bring in the issue of adoption, because it leaves out the input that we wanted to make. Indeed, we agree the organizational resolution are quite huge and they are going to take time, but we want that part here adoption not to be done, President. Thanks.
So, comrades, we want to make a plea really with the Congress that we discuss constitutional amendments and we defer the resolution on organizational. There are serious issues to be looked into, comrade, in that. You can't run organization rush. We are pleading with you, Congress, just to accept that. Please.
At this point in time, comrade, the person, comrade, we want to conclude this matter now. We want to call upon the person who was to present a constitutional amendment. No, it's Stuart. Then we deal with that, comrade. I've noted you, Northwest. Can you speak, Northwest?
No, thanks, Mongameli. President, we have listened to the proposal by the President of the Union. However, we insisted on rising upon Limpopo raising their issues there. And we want to say, Comrade President, that it is our understanding that all provinces were represented. Therefore, it was understanding, therefore, that the cadres deployed to the commissions are trusted cadres. Any product emanating from any commission should be owned by the Congress. And therefore, there's no need for the Congress to adjourn without adopting the resolutions of the Organizational Commission. More so, that Organizational Commission forms an integral part of our work moving forward. And as Northwest, therefore, are moving for adoption of the organizational resolutions, noting the fact that we are persuaded to engage on the constitutional amendments. There we are flexible as we move.
Guest, Kosatu GS.
I'm there.
Yeah, there's a crisis now. Congress is confused.
Amandla. Comrade, we think from the guest desk where we are that many of the things that are rising from the resolutions organizational is part of the Secretariat report, which in any way you are going to adopt the Secretariat report in any way as part of the working document moving forward. As we understand the many arguments and all those issues, comrades, that why can't we agree that we are adopting the framework of that resolution? Because there might be issues that are sensitive that we need to debate further in the Central Committee or going forward. That comrades don't want that opportunity to be denied them in terms of those particular issues. That to be able to anfikanga Congress na discuss everything else except the organizational report na adopt because it's debative. So that within the framework, we're adopting the framework in that one, we adopt the constitution, you are going to be able to move and work, going forward, comrade, rather than any other debate in terms of those. Because the issue in debate on our comrade is a framework that we said we have discussed these issues and we agreed, and then take the decision that the suggestion that may be made by President. There's no major differences from comrade what you are saying. Yes, we think, comrade, that the General Secretary of COSATU is not a guest. The General Secretary of COSATU is preaching because there's no far difference. Therefore we test in the Congress the advice by the COSATU. Can we test the suggestion by COSATU?
We thought that, President, you can make a ruling on some of these matters so that we don't keep on coming in and coming back. Because I don't think that the input by the GS to break this matter. If you come in Congress and adopt a resolution, that resolution can no longer be debated anywhere, be it the CEC, the NEC, or anywhere else. That is the point that we are raising as Limpopo. Now, our point is, if indeed this Congress is unable to conclude the discussion on the organizational work, it then can adopt those resolutions. Otherwise, we will have Comrade President to go and allow the organizational report to be presented, and we discuss it and we adopt it in Congress and conclude it as such. Thank you, President.
Pumalang. Pumalang.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. Comrade President, it will be suicidal of us in the 11th National Congress of NEHAWU if we will make a mistake of adopting something that have never been presented in this Congress. It will be very suicidal of us. If you are going to take that decision, it will be a suicidal mistake, Comrade President. Our proposal as Pumalanga is that let's defer this commission to the special Central Executive Committee where it can be debated so that we can take proper informed decision. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair.
Comrades, I want to appeal to Comrade when we're discussing issues of this nature, let's stop clapping hands. All right. Okay. Now, Comrade, we have proposed initially that we defer everything else, but we pick up the we endorse them. I'm now calling someone to present, and I'm now calling the committee who's going to present the constitutional amendment in the Congress so that we can because those behind our back who does not want us to do the things the way we normally do. Can we have the constitutional amendment to come forward? Okay. Oh, the NEHAWU legally gurus. Okay. Now, comrade, as NOBs were whispering to me, the line is that there will be special central committee convened because the normal CC is too far. There will be special CC convened where we will then be able to discuss the organizational and other things that we have left because of the time. Comrade Stewart.
Amandla, comrades, the constitutional report is in book 2 on page 106. So I'm just going to summarize the issue and then explain and what needs to happen. This constitution was amended by the 10th National Congress and then again by the Special National Congress on the 6th of June 2014. And then there's been a long battle between NEHAWU, our lawyers, and the registrar of the Department of Labor. In book 2, you will see there's a schedule that deals with the issues or the clauses that are in contention between the union and the registrar, and then they've indicated what the problem is in the second column there, and the third column would be NEHAWU's comments around the issue. So as I say, there's been a long to and fro. We've met with the registrar many times, our lawyers have met with them, we've negotiated, and the end result is that the registrar had kept on shifting the goalposts around the matter. So you will see in that schedule that some of the matters the union changed. Even at the Special National Congress, we changed some of the things that the registrar wanted in the Constitution. But when we submit the Constitution for registration, the registrar would find something else not to register the Constitution. And it's become clear that as a COSATU union that we are involved with a battle with the registrar around all of these things. So the latest goalpost that was shifted is that, if you remember, the Congress referred the Constitution, the finalization of the Constitution and the cleanup thereof to the CEC to resolve. Now, after we've made some of the changes that we wanted, now the registrar is indicating that your CEC does not have the power to change the Constitution. It's only Congress that can do that. Despite the fact that Congress has delegated that power to the CEC. So now, comrades will remember that those who were in the special CEC of the 25th of June 2013, that we had provided a legal opinion from senior counsel. Elton is basically saying that as a union, NEHAWU's interpretation of the LRA is correct, and that there's this issue as whether elected officials can vote or not. So Elton says that no, the union is correct, elected officials can vote, and that there's a section in the LRA as well as the Constitution of the country that says that unions have a right to determine their own administration and other procedures. So Elton bases his opinion on that. So at this point, we have filed a dispute in terms of section 111 of the LRA, which is an appeal against the registrar's decision not to register our constitution. And we are currently also filing amended papers on that application that we've submitted. And so now, where we are now is that we have to make a decision as to whether we are prepared to accept the changes. And I should also say that at some point, the registrar asked for a soft copy of our constitution, and then changed the constitution as how he feels it should be. And that's the one that he wants us to adopt. So at this point now, we have to make a decision as to whether we accept the changes by the registrar and register a compromised constitution, or we reject it and we continue the battle at the Labour Court. So, President, that's where we are currently. So that's what the decision we have to make as to what is the way forward.
So which area that must be adopted by the Congress?
Whether we have the view of the report that made this amendment ourselves in the last quarter, that we have rejected.
Okay.
So do we contest in the views of the dispute, or we accept what the even if we accept this dispute,
I mean, even if we accept it for the purpose of being able to have the constitution registered,
then we don't have a dispute anymore because we're appealing with the decision not to register the dispute.
I must say, I thought this was simple. Okay, Comrade, I'm sure you heard Comrade Stewart. So that's where we want the Congress to engage on. We have the explanation, what Stewart have said. What we want from the Congress is to endorse this or to reject. But my understanding is that if we reject, it means we are going to have a constitution that is not going to be signed for a very long time. So here's the matter, comrade. So can we invite the Congress to speak on this matter? Where are our bush lawyers? Gauteng, followed by Free State, followed by Eastern Cape, followed by Mpumalanga, followed by KZN, followed by Northern Cape, Gauteng, Free State. After Free State, Eastern Cape. After Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga. After Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo. Thank you. Gauteng.
Thanks, Mungameli.
Gauteng.
President, the issue before us is that the Central Executive Committee does not have the power to amend the Constitution. Therefore, our submission is that if the Congress did not adopt the Constitution, we don't have a valid Constitution. We are therefore submitting, Chairperson, that this Congress adopt the Constitution, and then we withdraw the application that is pending in the Court of Law. By so doing, President, we will even save on legal cost. And we have a constitution that is ratified by the Congress, and furthermore, it is accepted by the registrar in the Department of Labor. We so submit, President. Thanks.
Free State. Free State.
Thanks, Comrade President. As Free State, we support NEHAWU to adopt the framework as presented in terms of the report, President. And secondly, on the issue of the court, also to support NEHAWU on the withdrawal of the key.
Okay. I want you to clarify the matter whether we have a valid constitution or we don't, so that we don't discuss on wrong premises.
Comrades, in your pack, the Congress pack, a constitution has been included in there. That constitution was signed by the union and registered by the registrar in 2009. So that is the valid constitution of the union. We are talking now about an amended constitution that the amendments were done in the 10th National Congress and the Special National Congress that we are trying to adopt. Okay, and then some of the decisions of this amendments have been dealt with by the CEC as a policy decision. For instance, the election of deputy secretaries, branches, etc. The CEC took a policy decision to implement that, so it's not a constitutional imperative at the moment. It's a policy decision that we can elect deputy branch secretaries and so on.
Yeah, we do have a valid constitution, comrade. What we have not been able to do is to amend that constitution because the registrar refuses to allow the elected officials to vote in the form of the general secretary, deputy general secretary, the provincial secretary, deputy provincial secretary. So that's where we are. So we have two provinces saying that we must adopt the constitution. Eastern Cape.
Thanks, President. President, we thought in the commission yesterday we took a decision to say we can't allow ourselves to be bullied by the registrar. That's the first thing. Because if we adopt this proposal by the registrar, there are implications, some of them you've mentioned. If we go to page 108, where the registrar says some of them are officials, even if they are elected officials, they are still officials in terms of the Labor Relations Act at branch level. So the deputy secretary and the secretary, that's what the registrar is saying. They can't vote at branch level because they are officials. We can't allow that thing. What we said in the commission, President, is that those areas that we can compromise on, we can go to labor court and compromise with those areas, but there are areas that we cannot compromise on.
So therefore, Eastern Cape, we don't adopt this. That's what we are saying.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Limpopo? Limpopo province.
President, thanks very much. We support both Gauteng and Free State on the accepting of the changes and withdraw the application from the court.
All right. Northern Cape? Oh, okay. So in Pumalang. Northern Cape, can you hold on? Pumalang. Ungama no bhala bacani kwe Mike uzawuthetha. Pumalang. Secretary, I hope you are noting.
Thank you very much, President. As in Mpumalanga Press, we want to move for the adoption of the framework that has been presented. Thank you very much.
Okay. Pumalanga adopt, let's adopt. Northern Cape?
Thank you, President. This is our understanding, President.
Yeah.
That under the definition, we have to define what is a branch secretary, in which that the comrade that is elected at the branch level is not an official, or it's not on the payroll of the union. So immediately we have clarified that. We have already passed it, but by the way, we put the draft that we are adopting now through Gauteng and I think Free State. We didn't vote, some of us, as provincial secretaries. We have already implemented by saying that we further second Gauteng, Limpopo and Free State.
President, KwaZulu-Natal.
Thank you, Comrade President. We move from the premise that, Comrade President, we must remain a revolutionary trade union that must repudiate, and we think that the Eastern Cape is making a very important point. We must repudiate bully tactics of technocrats. But while we do that, though, because we also have a grievance that leaders of delegations in the form of secretaries, many of them, they come to a Congress and they do not vote. So it's something that must be challenged. But our view, Comrade President, is that because we live in an environment, Comrade President, illiberalism here that is in charge now. Kufuneka ke President senzeni sikwazi ukuthi siphile phansi kwayo, but we must not accept and say kuhleke moya wami. So this is our view, Comrade President. We say while we do all of that, while we accept that we must have a registered constitution, but the resolution itself must be deviation of the bully tactics of technocrats. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, this is what we would, this is a tactic to allow our constitution to be signed. But from a principal point of view, and we are going to fight. And I think KZN captures this thing very well. Now, this is what we want to summarize. That we adopt the constitution, we allow our constitution to be signed, we pursue the RRA and the constitution of the country as a union to determine our administration of our organization as we deem fit as an entity. Therefore, the fight was registered for the purpose of making sure that we have an adopted constitution. We adopt this. So if the Congress agrees, comrade, and I would suggest to the incoming leadership that we'll probably have to write this thing down and send it to province, communicate this decision properly. That this is what we're doing. We adopt the constitution, but the fight with registrar on the principal basis of us being allowed to continue to determine our administration organizationally, including the question of elected officials to vote. So if that is, we understand, comrade, one another, I want to believe that we have a decision. And for the purpose of that, I want to call the Secretariat to summarize this decision properly so that we can take the decision with us understanding. Secretariat?
No, President, you have summarized it. Just ask two provinces to move in second. That's the summary that you have raised.
1, 2 province. Limpopo?
We are moving.
Second. Pumalang. Tadi podium. Funaka sikuve that.
Mungameli si Mpumalanga siyavuma. Siyasekela.
Thank you very much. Any objection? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tinene hawa semzomuntu. Tinene hawa semzomuntu. Yeah. Simkonda. Thank you very much. Comrades, at this point, where's the book? Book 1. At this point, Gauteng, Free State, and that's in the Zomame.
Yeah. Siyabulela ukuthi usimamele President.
Yeah.
President, we want to check if we moving with you on the summary. The issue raised by KZN which you supported here in Congress.
Yes.
Through the court proceedings, ne? And what we were told in the special CEC is that the registrar is saying and he can't act on anything which we submit as a is that what we are concluding on? We just want to understand.
Free State.
President, thanks. Ours is something different from what Gauteng was saying. We wanted to persuade Congress, President, that in terms of the agenda, we are to break for lunch. So we wanted to propose that let us finish everything because it will be only 2 or 3 items left, so that when we break for lunch, the Congress shall have adjourned and traveling comrades will be able to reach home earlier. Thanks, President.
Okay. You want us to discuss strategies. Lot of people. So, yeah, yes?
No, thanks, President. This is what the Congress has adopted through a mover and seconder from Limpopo and Mpumalanga on the summary. That the Congress adopts the 10th National Congress amendments and the work done by the CEC as per the Special National Congress. Okay, let me put it properly. This Congress adopts the 10th National Congress amendments of the Constitution, the Special National Congress amendment of the Constitution, and the work that was done by the CEC on the mandate of the Congress to clean up the Constitution. That's point 1. Point 2, the Congress agrees that for the purpose of our Constitution to be approved by the registrar, that we withdraw the legal fight at the court so that we can have our Constitution approved. Post the process, then the NEC or CEC will mandate the 11th National Office Bearers to pursue the interpretation of the Labor Regulation Act, because we don't agree with the registrar on what the Labor Regulation Act says. That is going to continue to happen. Thank you very much.
Gauteng, I'm sure we're now clear. Are you covered? Thank you very much. No, but we thought by understand. All right. Comrade, we're now calling the president of COSATU. And the president of COSATU, you know who's he going to call. Kuthiwa kukho into yokuxoshwa kwabantu abebezinkokheli bemke baye kuma-province wabo. Where's Western Cape? Okay, yes. Lungisa indawo yami. So, over to you, President.
Amandla, thank you very much, Comrade President. I think, firstly, I've got to say on behalf of the National Office Bearers of COSATU and the Central Executive Committee of the Federation, how we have appreciated and worked well with this collective of the Union NEHAWU, the outgoing leadership of NEHAWU, all of them. And I must report to you, indeed, I did not mention it in my address here, but I'm reporting to you, we worked very well with this collective. My task is to, having thanked them, officially dismiss them from this table as we call election agency to come through for the procedures. We thank you very much. Ngabaculela ingoma. And as they do so, from Sisnobantu, I don't know where are you, or anybody from the staff to come and sort the chairs here so that they are neatly put.
Obizolo besilele mawen Osahamba sola le makan.
Thank you very much.
Obizolo besilele mawen Osahamba sola le makan. Osahamba sola le makan. Osahamba sola le makan. Obisolo besilele mawen. Osahamba sola le makan.
Mandla. Thank you very much. And indeed, according to the program as restructured by the program director earlier on, it's the time, Comrade Tlapo, Comrade Noltando, and your collectives of the former leaders of this glorious NEHAWU, Comrade Soli Mapaila of the party, we call upon the election agency to come forward to perform her task, of course under my watch, as according to the powers bestowed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, President. Dumelang Sanbonani, comrades. I guess, Comrade Chair, the two of us are now the leaders of NEHAWU, as things stand. Comrades, without any waste of time, I think before we make the announcement, let me first call upon the provincial observers who worked with us, just to make sure that, and you know, to make sure that there's assurances from the level of the delegates that everything was done properly and according to the Constitution, and that the entire process was observed by the provincial structures, representatives, and also to certify the process itself that it was free and fair. Can I have the provincial observers please come to the front? Let me observe all protocols, comrades, by recognizing all different leadership structures that are here present today as well. I'm short of 4 provinces. I'm short of 4 provinces, comrades. I suppose we do have, shall I call it a quorum of the provinces? Okay. Comrades, I think before I make the announcement, I'm going to hand over to one of the provincial reps. Before I make the announcement, because once the announcement has been made, I don't think they'll be able to do what they need to do. So I will hand over to the representative of the provinces to speak and certify on the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Mundle. On behalf of the observers from the 9 provinces, we hereby declare that the elections were free and fair, difficult that we had to keep quiet until today. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Grosha. Comrades, I'm just going to first start with the statistical report before I call out the names, the outcome of the results. And the results will be called out as they appeared on the ballot paper, per position, and then in alphabetical order per surname in terms of the different positions. And may I request the incumbents to come to the front as we call you. Okay. In terms of the statistical report, we were informed that credentials, in terms of the credentials, the expected number of voters was 552, and in total we had 550 votes cast. And in terms of the spoiled ballots, I'll call those in terms of the different positions. For the position of First Deputy President, according to how they appeared on the ballot paper alphabetically, 268 votes went to Comrade Sempe Elizabeth Mokgotsi, and 278 votes went to Comrade Michael Shingange. And in terms of the spoiled ballots, we had a total of 4 spoiled ballots, comrades, in terms of the First Deputy President position. Can we please have Comrade Michael Shingange come to the front? Can I just say, let me follow the positions as per the Constitution. The President just highlighted. My apologies. Just in terms of who President, start from the beginning. Unopposed, as we indicated the other day, is Comrade Umzwandile Makwaiba. President, please.
Safa sapela silamulele silamulele makwaiba silamulele makwai silamulele makwaiba safa 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 ngekupta safa 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 ngekupta silamulele silamulele makwaiba silamulele makwai silamulele makwaiba.
The next position then is that of First Deputy President, and as indicated according to the election process, we had as follows the votes distributed accordingly. Comrade Sempe Elizabeth Mahoti received 268 votes, and Comrade Michael Shingange received 278 votes with 4 spoiled ballots. I'm going to now call upon Comrade Michael Shingange to come to the fore.
Silamulele, sigang, silamulele, silamulele, singang, safa, 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 sapela, gekut, safa, 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 gekuta, silamulele.
Thank you, comrades. The second position is that of Second Deputy, went uncontested. And there we have Comrade Nyameka Matanda.
Nyameka, silamulele. She's a lady, no woman no cry. Woman no struggle, no woman no cry. She's a lady, no woman no cry. Woman no struggle, no woman. I know, Hosabalaza, Balaza, Sabalaza, Hosabalaza, Balaza, Sabalaza. She's a lady, woman no cry, woman no strike, woman no cry. She's a lady, woman no struggle. Oh, where's Abalaza?
Thank you, comrades. Okay, we move on to our next position of National Treasurer. And in terms of the voting process, the distribution of votes is as follows. In this instance, we had 1 abstention and 5 spoiled ballots. And the votes goes as follows. 292 votes to Comrade Khomoto Makupola and 252 to Comrade Amos Monyela. Comrade Khomoto Makupola, please come.
She's a lady, woman no struggle. I know. cry. Woman of struggle. Woman of cry. She's a lady. Woman of cry. Woman of struggle. Oh, woman of cry. Oh, Zabalaza. 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 Oh, Zabalaza. Zabalaza. Oh, Zabalaza. 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 Oh, Zabalaza. Zabalaza. She's a lady. Oh, woman of pride. Woman of struggle. Oh, woman of pride. She's a lady. Oh, woman of pride. Woman of struggle. Oh, woman of pride. Oh, Zabalaza. 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 Oh, Zabalaza. 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 Oh, Zabalaza. 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 Oh, Zabalaza. Oh, woman of pride. She's a lady. No pride. Woman of struggle. Oh, woman of pride.
Thank you, comrades. But the next position, our penultimate one, is that of General Secretary. Again, we have results from the voting process with 1 abstention and 1 spoiled ballot. And the distribution of votes is as follows. 285 votes go to Comrade Zola Sapeta and 263 go to Comrade Thank you, comrade. Thank you, comrade. The last position.
Yes, the last.
Thank you, comrades. Before I give you the results for the Deputy General Secretary, Thank you, comrades. Before I give you the last outcome, let me take this opportunity of thanking the NEHAWU leadership for having enlisted the services of the Elections Agency. That we really do appreciate this, and would like to thank the comrades behind me for being patient with the process and having assisted in watching over the process and playing oversight, and to your patience as well, comrades, for having voted so late into the night. Thank you. In terms of the last position for Deputy Gen Sec, the distribution of votes is as follows: 1 abstention again and 1 spoiled ballot. And the votes 267 go to Comrade Mduduzi Kliyi and 281 to Comrade December Mavuso.
Thank you very much. Ohlanganani basebenzi, hlanganani basebenzi, hlanganani basebenzi, manyanani basebenzi, sebethi khona lenhlangano inehawu, sebethi khona lenhlangano sebethi khona lenhlangano inehawu, ikhona lenhlangano. Thank you very much. I want to embrace. I know the feeling is nice and it's mutual. I feel the same too of our union, both as COSATU, because NEHAWU is a COSATU affiliate, but our union because I'm a member of this union in good standing. Thank you very much. Comrades, we want to proceed quickly. You remember the issue of time. I want to start by thanking the election agency. Ngiyazibongela nani.
Manda, Veva now, Veva. They are now, Thank you, comrades. Kosato President. Comrades will request that you sing in the meantime so that you allow this commotion to conclude, so that you can get the attention of the General Secretary to come forward. So you can sing in the meantime. Wasebenze mahlangane Elizwe basebenze mahlangane
Bekudala sisebenzela makhulu basebenze.
Thank you, comrades. Thank you. We will hold the congratulations will come after. We want to move with speed, comrades, to call the General Secretary, Comrade Zola, to come and present the 11th National Congress Declaration, and we request that all of us will stand up as and when that declaration is read.
Amandla, wethu, ndoyika, ndoyika. Amandla, thank you very much. We, the 575 delegates of the 11th National Congress of NEHAWU, a giant public sector union, representing 272,826 members across the public service, both education, parastatal, private health and private social development sectors, proclaim that over the next 4 years, our union shall underpin its program of action around our theme: strengthen workplace organization, deepen class consciousness, and advance international. Our 11th Congress took place on the special occasion of the 30th anniversary of the founding of our union. Tribute to all the gallant founders and all generations of leaders and members that came before us. And we pledge to sustain their spirit and hard work in building and defending NEHAWU and advancing the interests of members and the broader working class. Thus, we emerge from this Congress the maturing and the biggest affiliate of our federation, COSATU, and the leading affiliate of WFTU on our continent, with confidence and determination to strengthen, deepen, and advance our work on all that we have achieved on the key pillars of our program of action since our last Congress. Our Congress was graced by addresses delivered by leaders of our alliance and government, as well as input from WFTU and our trade union international of the public service and allied employees. We are honored by the attendance of about 36 fraternal international trade unions and parties from Africa, Europe, Latin America, Middle East, and Asia, and received messages of support and congratulations from many others, underlying the growing international influence of our union. It is now a decade that global capitalism is in the clutches of multiple crises of economy, stagnation, rising inequalities, unemployment, poverty, ecological destruction, and geopolitical tensions and civil wars. Since 2007, the various policy interventions that have been used to stimulate economic growth, including quantitative easing and cheap credit, have yielded nothing but lower economic growth rates, if not stagnation, in many of the advanced countries in Northern America, Europe, and Asia. Instead, inequalities and poverty have deepened, whilst unemployment expanded, whereby The current high average rates of unemployment in many countries, including South Africa, are increasingly becoming a permanent feature of capitalism in the 21st century. We now live in a world in which the rich 10% owns 90% of global wealth. 71% of the world population lives on less than 100 rand a day, and unemployment shall surpass 200 million by the end of this year. This is part of the unfolding all-round crisis of capitalism that also manifests in a collapse of the legitimacy of the neoliberal bourgeoisie parties and the resurgence of extreme right-wing forces in the global north, as well as the geopolitical and military encirclement of Russia in Eastern Europe and China around the South China Sea. All these and others, including the continuing terrorist atrocities perpetrated against peoples of Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya, Syria, and others, especially in Northern Africa and Arab Peninsula, underscore the insights of Lenin that the epoch of imperialism is relatively much more violent, spasmodic, disastrous and conflicting, an epoch which for the masses of the population is typified not so much by a horror without end as by a horrible end. We condemn the recent moves by the United States to reverse the advances of the Cuban Revolution. Similarly, we condemn the intensification of counter-revolution activities in Venezuela and other parts of South America by the US and its expansion of military bases on our continent. We can proudly proclaim that over the past 4 years, NEHAWU has been torchbearers of proletariat internationalist activism and solidarity campaigns in our country. We are now challenging ourselves with the task of advancing our internationalist work. In this regard, we shall take on the responsibility of strengthening our work with other African affiliates of WFTU, including NUM, Pope Crossipau, and the Africa office in building WFTU and TUI on the African continent. We shall support COSATU as it carries out the mandate to affiliate to WFTU and work tirelessly to encourage other COSATU affiliates to join WFTU TUIs. Our 11th Congress has finally taken a historic resolution to disaffiliate from the Public Service International, which shall be implemented with immediate effect. We shall step up our solidarity campaign with the struggling people of Swaziland, Western Sahara, Palestine, Venezuela, and with the Cuban Revolution. We shall strengthen our relation with other progressive solidarity and peace movements and build fraternal bonds with the progressive trade unions of BRIC countries, Latin America and North Africa. The BRICS, which emerged as a potential counter-hegemonic force as it amongst others sought to create a multipolar world order, to reform the United Nations, and to create an alternative global financial system, has been weakened by the changes in Brazil and India. And this happens at a time when Western imperialism has taken an aggressive posture towards Russia and China. As South Africa hosts the 10th BRICS Summit in 2018, we undertake to gear ourselves to play a central role in the BRICS Trade Union Summit. As part of deepening class consciousness, we shall work with the SACP, COSATU, WFTU in organizing different activities to celebrate the centenary of the epoch-making Great October Socialist Revolution. We are forever indebted to the contribution of the Soviet Union in our national liberation struggle. Central to these celebrations shall be discussion forums and lectures on the contribution of Bolshevism in theory and practice to Marxism-Leninism, national liberation struggles, class-orientated trade unionism, and the unprecedented and outstanding socio-economic and scientific achievements of the Soviet Union in transforming a backward, semi-feudal and poverty-stricken country into a highly advanced modern society. Political and socio-economic power and the massive endowment of natural resources in our continent remains under the influence and control of Western imperialism, which is involved in the scramble for these resources with other emergent powers such as China and India. It is therefore our duty to deepen our fraternal relations and to step up jointly work with the progressive trade union movement in our continent in the fight against massive looting of resources by mineral extractive monopolies, corruption, the annual illicit outflow of $41 billion and the domination of public life by the tiny corporate elite. Such collaboration and solidarity within the African Trade Union and amongst progressive forces must be part of the long-term endeavors to break down neo-colonial relations with imperialism. Efforts to place an alternative development agenda at the center and development of the democratic developmental states. This development agenda and the people's struggle for democracy in Swaziland and self-determination in Western Sahara are two sides of the same coin. Hence, we condemn the readmission of Morocco into the African Union and the position taken by South Africa and other African countries in support of the Mswati regime at the ILO. Thus, we pledge to intensify our solidarity campaign in this regard. Congress analyzed the state of the national democratic revolution and reiterated our deep concern that the ANC is currently dangerously divided and organizationally paralyzed, and thus risking the derailment of our revolution. This is taking place at a time when the balance of class forces are decisively in favor of monopoly capital, and the reactionary political forces led by the DA are increasing, and the reactionary political forces led by DA are increasingly making inroads on the ANC's mass base and political power. Whilst we maintain that the alliance remains strategically relevant, we welcome the fact that the SACP is now calling for the reconfiguration of the alliance. As we learned over the years in the implementation of COSATU 2015 plan, ultimately the reconfiguration of the alliance is a function of and is determined by the balance of forces on the ground. Corruption and corporate state capture are indeed part of a counter-revolution. Thus, Congress undertakes that NEHAWU shall actively support the SACP initiative of building the broadest possible patriotic and popular front to defend, advance, and deepen our democracy and national sovereignty, to fight corporate state capture, corruption, rent-seeking, and all forms of manipulation of our national wealth and the public resources by sections of individuals and elitistic groupings, regardless of whether they are black or white. We know that ultimately the struggle for socialism involves the revolutionary seize of power by the proletariat led by the vanguard party, the SACP. And this is the road, and this is a real content of the question of the party and state power, rather than a narrow parliamentary road to socialism. Hence the perspective of the SACP to establish democratic working class power and hegemony over the state and all other key centers of power in society in general is correct. This includes contesting a multi-party elections, which as part of the organized working class in COSATU, SACP and SANCO, we shall continue to debate and consider its implications. The 54th ANC conference that is taking place at the end of this year in Gauteng. Thus, in this regard, we pledge to campaign through our national and provincial structures for a progressive leadership to emerge at the 54th ANC conference on the basis of a program for a more radical second phase of our transition. We note with deep concern the fact that since the adoption of the National Development Plan by the 5th ANC administration, with its neoliberal microeconomic policies, growth in the South African economy has plugged year after year, such that it is now in a contraction and condemned to a junk status. The current recessionary state of the economy is aggravating the already crisis level of unemployment, poverty and inequalities. In this regard, we shall be in the forefront in support of COSATU's call for the Job Summit, which amongst others must also discuss the microeconomic policies, industrialization and comprehensive social security. Congress appreciates that our Federation COSATU is steadily regaining its strength and impact in society, as amongst others illustrated by successful Section 77 mass actions and May Day activities. Thus, we undertake to continue to support efforts to address challenges faced by some of the affiliates, the listening campaign and the Section 77 notice, which amongst others must put forward our demands such as safe and reliable integrated public transport system, the implementation of the national health insurance, safe and productive investment of workers' retirement savings by the Public Investment Corporation, fees-free post-schooling system, the absorption of community health workers into the public service, and an end to it all, outsourcing, casualization, etc. Congress directs the National Union to develop position paper on nuclear energy for discussion within COSATU. In this regard, the first draft shall be presented at the first CEC of the 11th Congress and discussed in our structure subnationally. We are inspired that our Northwest Province is rolling out preparations for a total shutdown in the public service on the 3rd July. The demands put forward by the province on the filling of vacancies, outsourcing, triple Ps, labor brokering and others are part of the broader national campaigns of the National Union in defense of public service and the fight for the developmental state. Thus, as we move towards the new round of collective bargaining in the public service, we shall mobilize members in mass actions in support of our demands, which must not only deal with the demand for wage increase, but also the implementation of the outstanding issues in the current agreement, an end to austerity regarding vacancies, and an end to the outsourcing of administration at GEMS and other issues related to the benefits of GEMS members and its governance. We shall work with COSATU, Public Sector Union, to campaign for the investment of our retirement savings managed by PIC into the public service housing scheme rather than in speculative projects in which it is currently involved. We note with deep concern that the deepening triple crisis of unemployment, poverty and equality in turn reproduce and worsen social ills in our society, including the abuse of women and children, xenophobia, drugs and alcohol abuse and others. Thus, we condemn the escalating incidences of rape and killings of women and children, and undertake to actively participate in efforts directed at building a progressive women's movement, combating patriarchy, and to promote gender activism amongst men as part of the overall strategic objective of the National Democratic Revolution to overcome the triple oppression of women in our society. The struggle for the emancipation of women is directly related to the broader struggle for socialism, and therefore, as part of COSATU, we pledge to support the efforts of the SACP and the ANC in deepening the conceptualization of the perspective of a more radical phase of our transition. This includes an emphasis on building the developmental state in which, as NEHAWU, we shall be in the forefront of the fight against privatization, outsourcing, agentification, and corruption in the state and society, including in the SOEs. In this regard, we undertake to mobilize our members in support of COSATU activities in the fight against state capture and to support the establishment of a judicial commission of inquiry. Congress has placed a monumental challenge to the National Union to strengthen workplace organization. This requires a strong National Union in the overall. Our synchronized program of democratic renewal that began with the branch congresses in 2014 and our assessment of the overall state of our branch to date show that this organizational development process is uneven across provinces and sectors, as it has been characterized by advances and reversals alike. Therefore, as we roll out dedicated activities to strengthen workplace organization, we shall simultaneously retrace our footsteps to rebuild our branches where there have been reversals, whilst consolidating and improving on our work to achieve strong workplace organization in the overall. As part of this, we shall ensure that all 1,813 branches have fully constituted leadership structures. Regular meetings must take place, including monthly general meetings with members. And our regions must carry out their mandate of visiting branches to listen to members and to support branches in taking up demands and driving campaigns to transform the workplace and improve condition of work. At the same time, as part of growing the union, we shall break new grounds in every region in establishing and building new branches. Our regions, as engines of service delivery to members, must play a key role in supporting and strengthening our branches, must work with provincial structures in convening regular town-based meetings to report back and to mobilize for our campaigns. The Congress appreciates the enormous strides that we have made in building a reliable and up-to-date membership system. Whilst our membership has effectively grown since our last Congress, in the overall, the rate of growth per branch, sector, region and province still falls short of the requirement of the 10th National Congress mandate for the 50% plus one target in all workplaces and sectors. This means that we must accelerate our recruitment campaign, improve service to retain members and broaden our recruitment strategy beyond the identified priority regions and sectors. A sustained growth of membership also depends on the overall organizational program and the implementation of key priorities thereto, including revival and operationalizing seamless machinery across all spheres of our departments, units and executive structures, improving the quality of our bargaining strategies, the accountability and capacity of our bargaining forums, reviving and strengthening coordination and operation of our provincial organizers forums, which must be accompanied by a suitable program of organizing and ideological training. Addressing our large case load, strengthening our legal department and the review of the paralegal strategy, strengthening our basic shop steward training program, which must also be accompanied by ideological training. Since our last Congress, we have won landmark cases in Labor Court and Constitutional Court in the interest of our members and workers in general. In the period ahead, we shall continue with our work towards the realization of our strategic objective of centralized bargaining in higher education and the legislative sectors. To deepen class consciousness, we shall strengthen our education service center, engage our fraternal class-orientated unions in the WFTU family and the SACP to review and enrich the content of our ideological and political material, improve the capacity of our commissars across all spheres. Our ideological and political training shall include imparting leadership skills to build capacity and confidence, especially of women, shop stewards and young workers of our union. To ensure financial sustainability and to lessen dependency on service providers and donors in order to strengthen our independence and to ensure our resources are efficiently directed towards activities that advance the interests of our members. Congress directs the National Union to reduce our financial liabilities and the wastages. We look forward to the outcomes of the ANC's 5th National Policy Conference that begins tomorrow. And of course, the SACP 14th Congress that is taking place on the 10th to 15th July 2017. The theme of the SACP Congress, Defend, Advance, Deepen the National Democratic Revolution, the vanguard role of the SACP. gives confidence to us that once again our vanguard party shall seize the moment to provide strategic direction and rescue our NTR. As we rise to bring the 11th Congress to a close, we underscore the principle that the unity and cohesion of the Union of Begimkis and Yoram Jogolo is sacrosanct. We take to the heart the key message from the SSCP that it is easy to destroy, and yet it is not easy to build. Therefore, as we gear ourselves to renew democratic mandates of our branches, regions and provinces going forward, we shall place the principle of unity and cohesion at the center. Amandla, Matla, all power, Aluta, socialism is the future. Thank you very much, President.
Yes. Mandla. Thank you, comrades. Thanks, Jess. Those who have the copies, you will have noticed that the typos and the misspellings have been highlighted. So I want to ask that as we engage with the declaration for the purpose of adoption, let's not correct those. Let's only correct a formulation in the declaration that perhaps misrepresent the spirit of this Congress, or let's only add that which we think is missing that should be declared by this Congress as discussed in the commissions. We're now going to take provinces that want to speak on the declaration. I'm ready to take boards. Okay, I'm told that the one that you have is not highlighted, but be that as may, the typos has been noted, so they are going to be corrected, comrades. I see Limpopo, I see Mpuma Colony, I see Eastern Transvaal, I see Free State, KwaZulu Natal, PWV. Okay, Northern Transvaal start.
Hey, President, we don't want that history. We are trying at all costs to forget it.
Never forget your history.
President, Limpopo moves for the adoption of the declarations.
Okay, thank you. Eastern Cape.
President, we rise as the Eastern Cape to second Limpopo.
Thank you. Pumalanga. Pumalanga covered. Thank you. Free State. Gauteng. KZN covered. Okay, comrades, at this point I want to give Secretariat. You don't have to come here if there's none to coordinate, if there's anything that we need to clean up before we call the president to close, if there's any announcement or any logistical processes, so that we don't come back after the president has spoken. I will give you just a minute to deal with that one. Tambo abakhululu bethu baseMzantsi Afrika abakhululu bethu abojoslovu abakhululu bethu baseMzantsi Afrika abakhululu bethu uzohamba Mokaba abakhululu bethu baseMzantsi Afrika abakhululu bethu Oliver Tambo abakhululu bethu base-South Africa abakhululu bethu amandla. So we are sorted, comrades. Comrades, at this point in time, we want to call the President of the National Union to deliver his closing address to this 11th National Congress. Comrade President, and I request the Congress to rise and sing a song for him as he comes forward.
Our
Kosatu, viva! Viva Kosatu, viva! Viva NEHAWU, viva! Viva NEHAWU, viva! Viva the African National Congress, viva! Viva the SSCP, viva! Viva the SSCP, viva! Long live WFTU, long live! Long live WFTU, long live! Long live the spirit of combat Moses Mapita, long live! Long live the spirit of combat Moses Mapita, long live! Thank you very much, Comrade, First Deputy President. Comrades, for a period of 4 days, we have come together and account into the organization about the work we have done since the 10th Congress. Both the 10th Congress and the Special Congress. We have gone to different experience and different turbulence, but we managed to keep this organization of Uram Jogolo, Comrade Begim Kize, together. When we started this Congress, we were sure that we are going to finish this Congress at this time, and we're confident that as we started united, we'll come out of this house united. This is important, and this is a lesson to many of us. This is important, and this is a lesson to many of us. This is important to those who have an experience and understand the function of trade union, and those who still aspire to have an experience. Organization remain an organization. An organization have principles and areas that must be respected. Time to time, comrade, it is important that we understand where we are, and we understand our task, and we understand our revolutionary task. We're both doing two things: keeping on promising and making sure that we keep the hope of our members, and time to time get into negotiation for the attempt to improve the life of our members and continuously deal with the challenge that affect the membership. As we say, some of us who have been there for some time, that when you become a chop squad, you must be a command, you must be a detector, you must be a teacher, you must be a coach, you must be a social worker. This is important if you are going to succeed in navigating the road that we travel. This is important if we are going to succeed to navigate both the responsibility of representing workers, but at the same time taking the interests of the country into heart, and not being naive of what is surrounding you. It is important, comrade, that as we travel this road, we guard against English. It is important, comrade, as we travel this road, we guard against English. We speak English with careful. We understand English with careful. Because those who think that they know English better than we do, they're going to bring concept that are an attempt to dilute our struggle. We must reject with contempt that it deserves the terminology of democratic society. We must reject the terminology of democratic society. We are communist. We know the class contending, and we are not naive about the fact that South Africa is a contested country. We are not naive that in a society we live, we do not have innocent classes. We are not naive that we know that the ruling classes wants to be switched to us in order to continue to oppress us. We must reject those who calling us to go to church and say that God wants us poor as we are because we have another way of living. We do not know that. We must reject a Christianism that seems to tell us that it's better to be poor because you are going to go to heaven. We must tell those who are saying so that you are absolutely telling us a rubbish. We are the children of working class. We know that in some days we wash the pot on the fire and hoping that mother is going to deliver a food, yet is no food. We are just been given a hope so that we are able to sleep and wake up in the following day and our mother continues to go and find something to eat for us. We have known that. We are not confused. We understand the principle of national democratic revolution, the straight road to socialism, and we understand the motive force of that revolution, and we understand that Freedom Chapter is a minimum program of those forces, is a way of making ground fatal for the struggle for socialism. We must not be allowing people to tell us about other terminology that are intending to dilute our struggle. There are comrades amongst us. There are comrades within our movement that they know they have arrived where they're going to. And in their attempt that we do not disrupt their process of eating, they're going to come to all different sorts of terminology in order to confuse us. We must refuse. We must tell the media of South Africa that we know which class are you representing. We must tell them that we know who own them, and we must tell them we know of those who make last decision, and we must tell them that each and every time when we are on strike, when we take a pregnant woman through the picket line and rush them into the labor ward during our strike, we know that you don't write about that, but you lie to the public. You say we have removed people on the table during the operation, and we know that you lie because you want to demonize our struggle as a working class. Ngenyimini Comrade Soli, now as to I ask the former General Secretary of COSATU, Dr. Masi, defend the media. Tabuzba, Godabani Gelonum Zabalas, Kubani Losum defender. Sebu turning go sing about Shobabe media. At what stage that have become positive for us? We only know that they write and they position us as hooligans. Anything that is wrong, that is done wrong to them, is always done by workers. If you don't believe what I say, go and look to the outcome of cases in the court of Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. Comrade, the working class in this country and the communists have a responsibility to change the current status of our economy. This is urgent, Comrade Soli, because if we are not doing it, nothing that we are going to become the representative of those who have colonized us masters, as long as we do not change this economy so that we can address the question of beneficial of our minerals. If we don't change the status quo, we are nothing but the representative of colonialism. My name is Mzwandile Michael Makwaiba. I am NEHAWU president. The house that doesn't understand, I'm willing to drink coffee with you, but I can explain. I wonder why the public protector is not joining the DA. I think it's a strategic delay, but for very soon, she's going to do so. We told you that Mampela Rampel is going to join DA, and indeed happened. Yes, the former public protector. We wonder why she has not joined. We are of the view that's a matter of strategic delay, but very soon she's going to be a member of a DA, because by action she is. Maybe the fear is that she and my man, they are going to be fighting. But if you look into any comment, I am not saying, comrade, the leaders of the African National Congress, including Guptas, must be allowed to do what they are doing. They must be defeated. But we must not look in one side and forget about other struggle. Because when we turn our eye, and many things are going to be gone. This is the 11th Congress. Please, comrade, these things are important. We must go to the policy conference of the African National Congress. We must influence the ANC. But, sorry, ndiyayazi into yokokuba awuzelwanga uthetha isiXhosa. Zikhona into endingakwazi ukuzisho ngesingisi. But I'm told by my mother that mfowam ayikho inkwali ephandela enye ngaphandle kwenethole. There is nobody who's going to represent our class by good heart. I want to repeat this. There is nobody who's going to represent our class by good heart. Time has arrived. We must be serious about our class struggle. We must close each and every corner where the power lies. And we must take that power and for the representative of the working class and for the interest of the working class. It is urgent. Ingxaki ke yamakomanisi ayathanda ukohluka ngento ezincane. Hluka ngegama lesingisi ba wathini uLenin? Wayetheni kulonyaka? Akathini kulanyaka? Maqabane mani kuqhumuthule ibe yi-enemy qhuba yona. The framework, comrade, the main target is us to secure our position as a communist and represent the working class. Ningabuya ke nithethe English nixabane ngoba uLenin wathini nini kungathangani, but masiqale uqala sifumane le fanele basifumane. I had a serious argument with Comrade Nyalambis and Comrade Noltando Masango about whether there's something called law. Yes. And I know people who have spent university have degrees in this case, they're not going to agree with me. But what I know, in a class society like ours, where the ruling class dominant, there is never a law that is favorable to working class. Now I ask a question, is there something called a law? Now, comrades, we have to be quick. We have to stop scanning about one another. We have to stop to be petty. We have to stop to promise other comrades position of the organization that doesn't belong to us. hlala kule ndawo kuyo umbutho uyakwazi ba ukubekeleni kuloo ndawo uzawusho umbutho bangoku sifuna usuka apha kwenye indawo ngoba uyawuchitha umbutho ngohambe sithubeni uthembisa abantu kuba ufuna yakho iposition yeke lento yenzayo because you destroy organization. Hlala kule ndawo kuwe nezinkokheli ukuthethwa kuzo masingabamamela abantu abazayo bezohlebeza inkokheli. Comrade, when we opened we said the supremacy of the judicial, it derived from the framework standing of the constitution of this country. The supremacy of the judicial, it derived from the framework standing of the constitution of this country. Therefore, it undermines the democratic process because when majority party has a position, it is now changed by 6 men or 6 women that are not being elected. Therefore, we argue that constitutional democracy is not compatible to the constitution. It is not compatible to the democracy itself because democracy is about majority. Tell me who elects judges? Tell me. Explain to me. We did this for the purpose of breakthrough. It's not in America, it's not in Britain, it's not anywhere. Obviously, in a country that was run by communists, you would not get it. Ilizwe lakalawulwa ngama-communists and the constitutional democracy. We want to urge you, comrades, to go to the Congress of Communist Party. I am told that is taking place here. You must go to that Congress and watch your position and protect your class interest. Build the communist. Make sure that in the process, the position of the working class is protected. It's your duty. You're on your own. It is your responsibility. You must make sure that it's protected. So, if you are a shop squad that belongs to the Red Union Hospital, you work in Home Affairs. When you're done working, you go home. You must go to the branches of the African National Congress. Don't allow them to say wangenu kosatu. Don't allow them to say yangeni part. Bayak isolator abaktandi. They want to deal with you. You must reject that and say to them, I am the members of the African National Congress on my right. We must get their comrade and defend, because if the African National Congress lose power at the current moment, the most people are going to suffer is the working class itself, because the gain that we have made under this of Johannesburg, under Machar, they're going to tell you that they don't mention apartheid. They don't mention transformation. It's taboo to say such words. Comrades, we want you to go home from here. Tomorrow, we want you to go to the branches of NEHAWU. Do one thing. Service and service and service and service the union members. Abasebenzi are very reactional people. Workers are very reactional. They don't care whether you were in NEHAWU Congress last week. They don't care whether you were in exile. They don't care whether you're in alliance, whoever. The only thing they want you to represent them, especially when they wrong. When you do that, you don't need to hire. So I'm told that we're now General Secretary. I'm told. Let's tell you this. You don't need to hire a marketing manager in the trade union. You just need one top steward who are capable to defend workers. When that top steward successfully defends a worker, the worker goes to CBN and says, "Mna dine union." It goes to a bus, say the same thing. It goes to a taxi, say the same thing. In turn, the workers are going to look for this union. That's what Begin Kiza taught us. That's what you know, in our young days, when some of the men that are now called former president were very young, you must see them in one of the NEHAWU. You see this man is in a stadium. See, this man is very young. They caused a rector of the university to jump out of the window in one of the offices. Those were NEHAWU shop steward comrades. On those days, when they saw management, they only know the enemy, full stop. That was the like of Vusintlap. We had a nurse comrade who did not have a reason to be part of workers because she was better off. But she decided to be part of those workers in a very difficult time. And sometimes she is told by the members of Inkatha, for that matter, that somebody is coming to kill you, get out of this world. That's our history. Those are workers that have worked very hard. We must follow that history. We must follow that trend. As I was shocked, what was the Tabani class everything in over Vushiwe, but again, we want to salute the workers of Somerset Hospital in Cape Town, in Greenpoint, for seeing a leader before the world did, before NEHAWU did. Those workers saw a leader. And we must salute those workers, and we must salute the NEHAWU comrades in the Western Cape, and then salute the NEHAWU workers in the National Union for being able to see leaders through to their naked eyes. This is important. This is important. We must appreciate, and I must say, Comrade Deputy General Secretary of WFTU, that today we have taken a historical resolution that we are no longer part of PSI. We are no longer part of PSI. We are no longer sleeping with people that we do not agree ideologically. Well done now. We've been saying this. We've been saying this. Well done. You are sending a very clear message. You are sending very clear message. Those who do not understand you, you are actually demonstrating. I'm sure Amatamboga Mapita Yashukuma, and I'm sure Amatamboga Yura Yashukuma, because this organization continuously surprises us. Well done. Namkalelu Rosa, General Secretary of PSI, that if you don't implement a resolution in support of Palestinian people that we have taken into Durban, well done. Comrades, I want to thank our sponsors. I particularly want to single out MSA and say, well done. I don't think we would have been successful in this Congress if we had not been supported by my comrade from Eastern Cape. Of course, we want to thanks to Old Mutual and all of those who have participated. We want to thanks to the staff members of this union for working tirelessly and failing to sleep because of the job that was demanded and be called to them. We forgive you that in the process of doing your work, you may have made mistakes. But we think that you give it all. You have tried your best, and we are going to move being together in this organization. Thank you very much. We want to thank the former NOBs of the union. And I want to single out one comrade, Comrade Umamu Mlange. It is interesting that each and every time, despite at your age, you always come to the Congress of this union. We want to appreciate it. It's inspiring us that while we're leading, there are people who are leading this union who recognize the contribution that we are doing. Thank you very much. We want to thank the former leadership of the union and say to you, this is your home. There's nothing stopping you to pick up a phone and say, President, we want to see your collective because we think that's something that you are not doing right. There's nothing stopping you to do that. That will be always welcomed. But again, Mahana, no Bob, man, please. No Zola, please, man. You're no longer China sector. No longer president, please. But again, beside the joke, we think that we appreciate. We want to thanks the leadership and the central office of WFTU, and we understand why General Secretary couldn't be together with us. But we want to thank the Deputy General Secretary of WFTU, Comrade Mahadevan, and thanks the central office of WFTU. We want to thank the comrades of the families of the leadership of WFTU that each and every time when we call them and they come and meet with us. We are deeply sad. One president of COSATU predecessor died while we were preparing for this Congress. And we are also very concerned and worried about the health of Comrade Stalin that we are told that is not well. We will make sure that we do go to Durban and visit him. I will ask the president of WFTU to visit the stalwart of WFTU and going to see how is it doing, because that's a very, very important person in our history. I remember being told that Elijah Bakai said to one organizer, "Yeah, go to Free State and organize workers." So he says, "No, President, I've never been there. How do I go there?" So he says, "Yes, sir, come and dismiss this man. He doesn't know how to organize workers. And how is he going to organize if he can't organize himself?" Comrades, we're inspired by those history. And each and every time when we work and leave our family behind, we always say, if Mapita died working for the working class, if Uram Jogolo died working for the working class, if
Bekim Kize died and be followed by the forces of Gachaptelis because he never gave it to him, being Umshana wake, but then in his view of Gajap betraying him. But if he died working for this organization, then we can't be doing anything wrong. And it is important that we must continue to work for this organization. Comrade Prabil Badal, we have seen you, and I'm not sure whether you were noted, but we're very pleased to see. Comrade, we want to thank the leadership of the union, and particularly to Comrade Chairman Mao. We have worked together, Comrade Soke, for some time. From Free State, I remember one day we slept at around 2 o'clock when the Maluti leadership was disbanded. We have been through and thick of times, so it doesn't mean the fact that you are not being elected General Secretary that the organization doesn't like you. You're part and parcel of this organization, and you must continue and build the unit of this organization. It cannot be that we do not acknowledge your contribution, because you didn't just become General Secretary, you have come very far in building this union. So we are together with you, comrades, and we know that wherever you're going to be your future, you will be still striving and making sure that this union is built. Andikufuni ukwenziwa ikhuni lokoja. I can't say that in English. Now, comrades, with those, we want to say to you, go home. But before that, Makabane, asinogo yiswa ngumaiman. Gauteng, asinogo yiswa ngumaiman. Samu, we need you more than ever before. Now that Johannesburg is taken, siyanicela Maqabane Sam, wherever you are, please stop your egos, stop your squabbles. We want Samu in municipality as ever we needed before. The COSATU leadership must strive to help that organization and make sure that it does exist. Kodwa, we must adopt a document that is going to give us a teeth to bite, Comrade Pratek. So, if Johannesburg is taken by us, what stops us to take Johannesburg? What's stopping us to take the Tshwane municipality? Aluta continue. Comrades, go home. I feel sorry for you, because all those things you are wearing that seems to be beautiful, the membership is going to take them away. I promise you, when you get into one particular branch, you are going to come out there naked, because workers are going to take those beautiful things. I promise you. So, we don't want to waste time, comrade. We want to declare this conglomerate closed, and we want to ask you to go home. Please drive careful. Don't do what I would not do. Thank you very much.